So today I would like to show you how to make a bruschetta or a bruschetta. There are different ways of calling it. I'm going to stick to bruschetta in this video. Now a bruschetta is very simple. To put it very simply, it's simply a piece of toast with toppings on it. It could be a tomato basil topping. It could be a mushroom bechamel topping. What really makes a good bruschetta is the bread, and we usually use a random loaf which lacks the texture of what you'd get in a good place when you get a bruschetta. So I want to concentrate this video on making ciabatta bread. Why ciabatta? It is an Italian bread, and it's a no-knead bread. You don't have to knead your bread. It's easy to make. The only hard-working part is where you have to make a poolish the previous night, and this is how you make a poolish. So I have 1 cup of lukewarm water, which is going to go straight into my mixing bowl. To this I'm going to add 1/4 of a teaspoon of yeast. I'm going to give it a quick whisk, and as usual you're going to wait for the bubbles to form before you add your flour. Here I have 1.5 cups of refined wheat flour, which is going to go straight into my activated yeast, and I'm going to begin to fold this until it looks like a thick paste. Now that everything has come together, I'm going to let this rise for 12 to 16 hours. Now there are different ways of making a ciabatta. This is called the poolish method. There's something called a bigger method where you get a sort of a harder dough which you age and then mix with a similar procedure to the poolish. There's also a straight dough where you get everything together. So what people do is they make a very wet dough without putting in much effort into the kneading and stuff, and leave it overnight. What happens is overnight the dough on its own, which is really wet with all the hydration, develops a lot of gluten. There are about 3 ways of doing it. The one I'm showing is the easiest method. So I have aged my poolish for about 12 hours, but people usually age it for 4 hours and you're done. Some people even leave the poolish in the fridge for about 3 or 4 days. So you could make a poolish and leave it and use it whenever. It's been 12 hours. Let's look at our poolish. You can see a good amount of activity and a lot of bubbles, and this is going to add flavor to your bread. So along with the starter, we need 4 cups of refined wheat flour and 1.5 cups of water. Here I have 1.5 teaspoons of salt, which is going to go straight into my refined wheat flour, and 1.5 teaspoons of yeast, which is going to get activated in my lukewarm water. Now making the bread is really easy. Get a large vessel, dunk in your flour, make a well, and add your poolish and your water. Once you've added them, combine everything into a thick batter-like consistency. Once everything has come together, get a glass tray in which your dough is going to ferment. You will have to thoroughly oil the tray. If not, your wet dough will stick to it. Now because the dough is so wet, you will have to wet both your hands before you handle it. Here I'm going to take exactly half the amount of dough and I'm going to place it in this glass tray. Once I place it in, I'm going to spread it out evenly, and I'm going to let this sit and rise for at least 4 hours. Before I set it aside, I will cover it with a wet cloth. Now I'm going to repeat the exact same procedure for the other glass tray for the other half of the dough. Four hours on, my dough has doubled in size. I have a lot of flour on my work surface, so when I drop this dough onto my work surface, the dough doesn't stick. And now I'm simply going to wait for this dough to fall over it. Now I'm going to cut a portion of the dough and I'm going to begin to fold it. To fold it, I will simply take the edges of the dough and tuck it into the bottom center till I get a smooth top and smooth sides. Here on, I'm going to rest these and I'm going to let them proof again for another 30 minutes till they double in size and begin to look like this. These are ready to bake now. They're going to go into a 250-degree oven for 20 to 30 minutes. Ciabatta is ready. Look at that gorgeous bread. Do you want me to give you a sound test? Listen on. This bread is truly addictive. It's crusty on the outside, dense on the inside. It's beautiful. You would have seen while I was cutting the ciabatta that the texture and starting from the hardness outside to how dense and chewy the bread is inside. So when you tear a regular piece of bread, it's just going to simply tear open. But look at this. It takes so much more effort, and you see the density and the chewiness of the bread in it, and that is what makes the bread so much more addictive. And the poolish, which is aged over say 12 hours, it adds what my first boss had told me. It adds a Moorish taste to your bread, and it gives it that deeper flavor, which by itself, when you eat your bread, it's going to be so much more addictive. Do make ciabatta at home. It's much less effort than a regular bread. And also, once you make it, do comment and like, share and subscribe.